The next topic is sexual reproduction. We have already studied about few definitions in the first class. That is, for the sexual reproduction to occur in higher vertebrate animals, it requires formation of gametes. First and foremost thing is gametes are very important for the sexual reproduction to take place in all the higher vertebrate animals. So male gametes will be separate and female gametes will be separate. And male gametes are going to fuse with female gametes, so that the process is known as fertilization process. Fusion of male and female gametes is known as fertilization. This fertilization is of two categories: internal fertilization and external fertilization. If the fertilization process occurs inside the female organism's body, then it is known as internal fertilization. If it occurs outside the body of both the living organisms, that is males and females, then it is known as external fertilization. Fertilization means fusion of male and female gametes. This fertilization is of two categories: internal and external. Internal fertilization means if the fertilization of gamete, that is male and female gametes, occurs inside the body of female reproductive system, then it is known as internal fertilization. If this fusion occurs outside the body of both the living organisms, then it is known as external fertilization. The best examples for external fertilization is amphibians as well as fishes. A fish, male and female, they are going to deposit their ovum, release their ovum and sperms respectively into the surrounding water. They will produce in vast number, in millions, thousands to millions, so that reproduction will occur. That is, fertilization process takes place outside their body and it is taking place inside the water. So this type is known as external fertilization. This is an example. Another best example is frogs, amphibian frog. Both the frogs will deposit their ovum and sperm into the surroundings, either the water or in the mud or whatever it may be. So this fertilization can also be considered as an example for external fertilization. That is, fusion of male and female gamete is taking place outside the body of these living organisms. So this is the example for external fertilization. Now if we take the internal fertilization, so for this topic is being included in your class, especially to understand the male reproductive system of human beings and female reproductive system of human beings in such a way that in the next higher classes, in intermediate, you may not choose this subject, that is biology, as one of your prime subject. You might be going into different streams, CEC, MEC, MPC, etc., where you will not be taught any kind of these topics. So to get awareness of your human reproductive system, that is your body and structure, how it is going to play a vital role in production of your future generation, this topic is being included in 10th class. So this is only for your knowledge. I will be going beyond the extent that is present in your textbook. So this is for your knowledge, just for your knowledge. If you acquire this knowledge, then it will be very useful for you in your future. Okay. Now let us study. That is, male reproductive system will be separate and female reproductive system will be separate. As we have seen in the previous classes, that is, males are separate and females are separate. And in human beings, the male reproductive system will be carried out by males and female reproductive system will be carried out by females. And we can also distinguish clearly between males and females. Males will be having secondary sexual characters just like beard, mustache, etc. And whereas the females will be having long hair, growth of characteristic hair, as well as low pitch female voice, etc., can be distinguished. That is, these are the characters which will be distinguishing between males and females. Okay. Now, if we study the structure of male reproductive system, male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes. They are present outside the body of human reproductive, that is males, and they are present in sac-like structures called as scrotal sacs. Whereas female reproductive system, that is ovaries, they are present inside the abdomen. Male reproductive system consists of a pair of testes. They are present outside the body and they are enclosed in sac-like structures called as scrotal sacs. These scrotal sacs will be outside and they will be protecting the testes. The temperature that is present inside the testes will be 2 to 3 degrees less than the body temperature. The amount of temperature that is present inside the testis will be 2 to 3 degrees less than that of our body temperature. If your body temperature is normally 98.2 degrees Fahrenheit, then it will be around 90 degrees. That is around 2 to 3 degrees less. 38 degrees Celsius will be differing with 35 to 36 degrees Celsius. If it is Fahrenheit, you convert it to Fahrenheit. So that is the difference of temperature that is found in the testis. Inside each testis, if we are going to see the longitudinal section of testis, inside each testis, it consists of several tubules which are known as seminiferous tubules. Inside each testis, it consists of several tubules, tube-like structures. These are called as seminiferous tubules. Inside each testis, there will be several thousands of tubules which are known as seminiferous tubules. The wall of the seminiferous tubule will be undergoing meiotic division and produces haploid cells which are known as sperms. The wall of the seminiferous tubules will be undergoing meiotic division. The wall of the seminiferous tubules will be undergoing meiotic division. One meiotic division will give rise to 4 haploid cells. These haploid cells are called as sperms. And they will be released into the lumen of the seminiferous tubule. Lumen means cavity. The wall of the seminiferous tubules will undergo meiotic division to produce haploid cells. These haploid cells are called as sperms, and these sperms will be released into the lumen or cavity that is present inside the seminiferous tubules. Now once they are released, they will be freely floating, and these will be collected by vas efferentia. They are finger-like projections. They are finger-like projections which are present in the testis, and they will be collecting the sperms which are there in the cavity or lumen. Sperms will be produced inside the seminiferous tubules, and they will be collected by vas efferentia. These are finger-like projections. They will be collecting the sperms which are present inside the cavity of seminiferous tubules. And from vas efferentia, they will be supplied, or they will be moving into a part known as epididymis, where the sperms will be stored temporarily. The storage part of sperms will be temporary. Will be there in the epididymis. That means unless they are going to be ejected out, the sperms which are produced inside the seminiferous tubules will be collected by vas efferentia, and they will be passed into epididymis. This epididymis is considered as the storage region of sperms. This is considered as the storage region of sperms. Then from epididymis, another finger-like, a tube-like structure will arise, which is called as vas differentia, which will collect the sperms from the temporarily stored material known as epididymis, and they will be passed into seminal vesicle, another tube-like structure. This is continuous. The next part of vas differentia will be continued as seminal vesicle. This seminal vesicle will be releasing a fluid called as seminal fluid. And this seminal fluid will be acting as source of energy for the sperms when they are out. Seminal vesicle will be releasing seminal fluid. This seminal fluid will be acting as the source of energy for sperms when they are outside the male reproductive system, when they are out of the male organisms. And seminal vesicles will be associated with Cowper's gland and prostate gland. Seminal vesicles are associated with Cowper's gland and prostate gland. Cowper's gland will be releasing a fluid. This fluid will provide the nutrients which are required by the sperms to be alive. Sperms are said to be cells, haploid cells. They have, just like our skin cells, they are also cells. They require energy for the movement. They require energy for growth. Is it true? They are cells. They are simply called as cells. Just like we have cells on our skin, just like cells we have on different parts of our body, sperms require energy. Nutrient, that means food has to be supplied for the sperms to grow or to be alive. That nutrients will be provided by the fluid which is released by Cowper's gland. Cowper's gland releases fluid which gives the amount of nutrients required by the sperms to be alive. Then prostate gland. Prostate gland will also release another fluid. This will be neutralizing the amount of urea that is present on the walls of the urethra. Since urethra is the common passage for both urine as well as sperms, the urea will be sticking. Some amount of urea will be sticking to the urethra. So it will be acidic in nature. It is acidic in nature. That acidic nature will be neutralized by the fluid released by the prostate gland. The walls of the urethra will be acidic in nature. The nature is so because of the release of urethra from our body. So this urethra, that is acidic nature, will be neutralized by the fluid released by prostate gland. And the entire fluids which are released by this Cowper's gland, prostate gland and seminal vesicle is known as semen, which consists of both liquid as well as sperms. Sperms as well as liquid that is present in the, that is fluids which are coming from Cowper's gland, prostate gland, seminal vesicles and sperms together called as semen. That means semen consists of nutrients which are required for the body, for the growing sperm to grow, as well as it consists of the freely, there is water or whatever the liquid material which helps the sperm to live freely or to move freely or to swim freely. And from the seminal vesicle, a tube-like structure, that is seminal vesicle, will be continued as ejaculatory duct, which will be ejecting out the sperms through the urethra, which is common passage for urine as well as sperms. This is how the male reproductive system functions in human beings. Human beings consist of a pair of testes. They will be present outside the body and protected in sac-like structures called as scrotal sacs. The temperature present in the scrotal sacs will be around 2 to 3 degrees less than that of our body temperature. Okay, so as to keep the sperms alive, the temperature cannot be bared by the sperms. And testes will be inside each testis. It consists of several tubules which are called as seminiferous tubules. The lining of the seminiferous tubules is lined with germinal epithelium. The entire wall of the seminiferous tubule will be lined with a epithelium known as germinal epithelium, and this germinal epithelium will undergo meiotic division to produce haploid cells. Those haploid cells are called as sperms. These sperms will be released into the lumen or cavity that is present in the seminiferous tubules. From there, it will be collected by finger-like projections called as vas efferentia. Vas efferentia will be collecting the sperms from the lumen of the seminiferous tubules. From there, it will be entering into a storage part known as epididymis. Epididymis will store the sperms temporarily, and from epididymis, the sperms will be collected by vas efferentia, and it is a tube-like structure which is a passage for the sperms from the epididymis to the seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle will be releasing a fluid known as seminal fluid. It is the source of energy. This fluid is the source of energy for the sperms to be alive when they are outside the body. And it is also associated with two pairs of glands known as Cowper's gland and prostate gland. Cowper's gland will release the fluid which will be releasing the nutrients, or which will be helping which will be producing the nutrients which are required by the sperms to be alive. Prostate gland will also release a fluid which neutralizes the acidic nature of the urethra or the walls of the reproductive system. It releases a fluid. Prostate gland releases a fluid which will be neutralizing the acidic nature of the urethra or entire wall of the reproductive system will be acidic in nature, and that will be neutralized by the fluid. The fluid released by corpus gland, prostate gland and seminal vesicle is known as semen, along with the sperms is known as semen. Sperms, seminal fluid, corpus gland fluid and prostate gland fluid, 4 parts together represented as semen, and this will be consisting of the nutrients required for the growth of sperm, and it will be acting as a medium to swim freely in the fluid. So this is about the male reproductive system, and the males will be producing the sperms throughout their lifetime. Once it starts at the age of 13 to 14 years. Males start producing the sperms at the age of 14 to 15 years or 13 to 14 years depending on their body size and shape, and they will be produced throughout their lifetime. That means until their death they will be produced. Let us see study the structure of sperm. If we see the structure of a sperm, then the structure of a sperm shows us 4 different parts: head, neck, middle piece and tail. These are the main parts which are present in the sperm: head, neck, middle piece and tail. Head consists of a haploid nucleus. And the front portion of the sperm will be consisting of a thick material which is known as acrosome, which helps the sperm to penetrate into the ovum and release its haploid nucleus. Sperm consists of head piece consists of a pointed structure which is called as acrosome, which penetrates into the ovum and releases the haploid nucleus into the ovum. And the middle piece doesn't have any part to play, but it connects the head and middle piece. Neck region will be connecting head with that of middle piece. Middle piece consists of mitochondria, which releases the energy. That means it performs respiration process. When it takes nutrients, then it has to respire. That means it is taking in oxygen. It will be releasing out carbon dioxide. At the same time, when it is taking nutrients from the corpus gland fluid, it will be taking in the nutrients and it has to perform respiration process. Then it has to release energy. That part will be done by the mitochondria, which is present in the middle piece. Tail helps in swimming. So this is the structure of a sperm. When we see the structure of a sperm, it consists of head, neck, middle piece and tail. The front portion of the head consists of acrosome, which helps in the penetrating into the ovum, and it also consists of haploid nucleus. It will be connected to the top middle piece with the help of neck. Middle piece will be consisting of mitochondria, which will be performing respiration and generating the energy for it to grow and to live. And it consists of the last part is known as tail, which will be helpful for the sperm to swim freely. Now, if we see the structure of female reproductive system will be completely present in the abdominal cavity. That means it is present inside the body of female living organisms or females. Ovary. There are a pair of ovaries, one on each side of the vertebral column, and they will be present in the lower abdomen. And this ovary, inside ovary, it consists of Graafian follicles, similar to that of seminiferous tubules. You compare. In males, we have seminiferous tubules. In females, we have ovarian follicles, or they are also known as Graafian follicles. These Graafian follicles will undergo meiotic division and produce, and it will be consisting of ovum inside its body. ovarian follicles will be consisting of ovum inside the body, and when the Graafian follicle or ovarian follicle matures, they will rupture and they are going to release the ovum into the cavity that is present in the ovary. Ovary will be pair, means two pair, single pair means two ovaries will be present in the abdominal cavity. Inside the ovary, it consists of several follicles, and unlike males, production of ovum starts at the age of 13 or 14 and it is going to stop by the age of 50 to 55 years. And during this period, a female can give rise to around 20 to 25 children. And each ovum which is present inside the ovarian follicle will be collected by finger-like projections which are present in the fallopian tube called as ovarian duct. From the ovary, inside the ovary, when the ovarian follicle ruptures, it releases ovum into the cavity that is present in the ovary. From there, it will be collected by finger-like projections or funnel-like structure called as ovarian duct, which is the front portion of the fallopian tube. This tube-like structure, which is associated with the female reproductive system, is known as fallopian tube, and the front portion is known as ovarian duct. This ovarian duct will be just like your vas efferentia in the males, will be collecting the sperm from the lumen. Vas efferentia will be collecting the sperm from the lumen. Similarly, the finger-like projections called as ovarian duct will be collecting the ovum from the cavity that is present in the ovary, and that will be passed into the next part known as fallopian tube, where the fertilization process occurs. That is, sperm will be releasing its haploid nucleus into the ovum, and the fertilization process occurs in the fallopian tube. And if fertilization process has taken place, then the fertilized ovum is known as zygote. This zygote will undergo several changes and to form as embryo. This embryo will reach the uterus, and it gets attached to the uterus, which is known as implantation. This is about the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries in the abdominal cavity on either sides of the vertebral column, and each ovary consists of follicles which are known as ovarian follicles or Graafian follicles. Each ovarian follicle or Graafian follicle, when they mature, they will be rupturing and they will be releasing the ovum into the surrounding cavity. From there, it will be collected by the finger-like projection present in the fallopian tube known as ovarian duct, and it will be passing into the fallopian tube. And in the fallopian tube, fertilization process occurs. That is, sperm will be meeting with ovum and it will be forming as zygote. So formed structure is called zygote. Zygote will be developing into embryo, and it travels down the fallopian tube and it gets into the uterus and gets attached to the uterus, which is known as implantation of the baby. So